I think Ice Adventures represents another level for us. I think in the past we've worked with other people, but I think this one was sort of very much just our own ideas into the show.
Good morning, everybody. The journey time to Whitley Bay this morning is about 3.5 hours.
Many years ago we talked about presenting a show that was just one theme, like a musical or a ballet, and we were talked out of it by the producers at the time because they felt like it was too hard to sustain a whole evening. And I think Ice Adventures is the nearest we've ever got to that sort of dream.
They are famous all over the world, I think, and people know about them in Russia, of course.
I really know them at the Olympics when they were doing the bolero, and I told my mom that's what I want to do.
I was, I think, 10 years old. I saw them at the 84 Olympics, and then I went to see their shows, but I was very young at that time and I never imagined I was going to work with them. So very excited.
Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. How are you? How are you?
Everybody's in Whitley Bay because we were able to get the amount of ice that was necessary here and nowhere else.
This is our home. I'm afraid Maui and the Four Seasons, we couldn't book it, so it's Whitley Bay. Regarding the show, I suppose you all want to know what it's about. What we have been doing this time that we've never used before, we've worked with a writer.
I think having a writer was again a move in that direction of the whole musical stroke ballet idea, and but also having met Robin Driscoll, who was the writer for Mr. Bean, and the comedy that he produced in that. Because it was without words, we felt that it would be suitable for the ice.
Right, excellent. Right, even at that point, once you've got yourself in position, look along the line, talk to each other.
I just gave them ideas for themes and did lots of drawings. My first idea actually was a bit arty, but I fancied this show having a Magritte look, René Magritte, bowler hats, umbrellas, very dark, very surreal. They liked that idea, but they didn't really want it for 2 hours. So I managed to keep some of that look in the opening.
Some of it can be taken on a very easy level, and some of it can be a little bit darker. And Robin tends to go towards the dark element a lot, and we pull it back and say, well, just think about this. It's a very family-orientated show.
This may sound silly, but do you scare any children in the audience with this thing walking out with a man in his mouth?
Well, I hope so. This is an idea, I'm not sort of forcing it going through.
We've got that. No, we've got that.
But now think about whether or not you can afford this costume. And if you want it. Okay? Or come back tomorrow and tell me it's your idea, and then we'll do it.
Robin initially came with a lot of ideas, and a lot of them were terrific ideas, and we discussed them. There were many that we threw out because they were impractical from a skating point of view, and a lot of them restricted what we could do choreographically as well.
push your hands on my hips.
Can't do it.
Just push your hands on my hips. Just push it and now walk back. So do it as if you're walking backwards and almost pull her here, there.
Push.
And you have to push at 45 degrees.
This particular show, I've not had that much input as far as
That's the idea.
ideas. Most of those have come from either the writer or with Jane and Chris originally.
So you go one step,
That was on a good
two
music.
step to backwards, and you've got plenty of time to hear that first burn. It changes music.
When we work with Andrews, it's sort of a unique situation because if we wanted to, we could ask him to come up with the steps for us, but he knows we're perfectly capable of doing that ourselves. And I think he gets quite excited and interested with the movements that we come up with. But where he specialises is he can see us start to develop something and he'll encourage it along and say, yeah, that looks great, but if you do it this way, it'll be even better. Or we'll be working on something and he'll say, I think you're wasting your time trying to pursue that.
Now you can come to it. So you were one phrase too early.
Can you add an arm to it too?
Huh?
Can you add an arm?
The direction is a collaborative thing. I mean, it's obvious. I think that Chris, organises and puts a lot in. I think, well, Chris is the director. He's letting me direct my little bits, and then tells me to change them.
With that, yeah, okay. So as the leg comes over, just don't grab the arm yet. Now go forward over the head. Now stay hold of the hand so that we can come out this way. And out. It's that part there that it comes out.
I like the coming out.
Come out the first cerebellum. You come out.
I think
there.
I generally tend to bring a lot of ideas and develop them. But, with Jane, together, we mould them.
And coming out, pulling her out.
Whoa. That should work.
Chris, 70% of the time, is the one who has that first idea. Jane will then, in her head, think that's going to work or it's not going to work, and she'll tell him.
Bring her back onto her.
You've got to get from this
foot.
Sideways. You've got to turn and get square. Because he's quite a dominant character and he has the strong ideas. And sometimes, even if he's got an idea and I say I don't really like that, he's quite adamant that's what I want to do. Okay.
And turn and travel and lay back. Turn a bit lower for me and down, over and land. Give me a hand. Now bring you back down to set.
He's very demanding, and when you say, well, I'm not sure I can't do this, he says, try it, and I'm sure you can do it. But it's good because it pushes you, and I ended up doing things that I never thought I would do.
And
Another thing that was a real big departure for us that we haven't worked with before was the flying, the sort of aerial ballet that we put in. That was not just Jane and I, but it was working with another person, the operator, who moved her up and down and backwards and forwards.
travel. Up, over.
It felt very beautiful in the way that it moved, lyrical. I mean, although Jane was the one that was going through the air, I sort of felt in tune with that because at certain points she's got to rotate and come in, you've got to be at the right point, so you've got to know how much momentum you give to where she's going to end up, and so you sort of get into the sync of that. I enjoyed that a lot.
I mean, we thought it turned out great, but because we only had a short time to develop it, we felt that there's so much more to be done with it even now. So we may go and do it in Las Vegas for 2 years or something. Just kidding. You could sit in a theatre there for 2 years and do the same act. I can't quite see myself doing that, but no, it was, I think it, as I said, I think we could have developed it more, and we could, if we ever get the opportunity in the future. I mean, I don't know how my body's going to stand up to that, but it is quite strenuous on the body.
The girls, after the first day, were black and blue around their waists. One of the girls, Michelle, I think, in actual fact, suffered a bit of a cracked rib as a process, of the constant pounding on it and certain moves that just stressed it at the wrong point.
As you get older, your body's naturally going to restrict you, and it depends how hard you work at it to maintain that level of fitness and flexibility in what you do. And sometimes if you're trying new things like the flying, because I'm older, I didn't want to do anything to hurt my body that would stop me doing all the other stuff too.
There's a lot of aesthetics to it. It's not a power sport in the sense whereby you're trying to get every last ounce of your energy out to break the tape in time or to reach a ball. It's about containment, actually. It's about being in control of your body and looking like you're on top of everything, that you could do anything, and it looks easy, but it looks aesthetically beautiful. And having control takes a lot of discipline.
We're all athletes and artists and performers, and our physical appearance is very important, as well as just our physical well-being. And speaking for myself, I do try to eat very healthy.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that was.
I'll pick up where I was going to say.
Right, what were you saying?
I was going to say. And I look forward to meeting you.
I'm not obsessed with my weight. Of course, I worry about how I look, because it's very important in skating, but it's not one of my major concerns. My weight is always the same.
I always had a problem not to eat much because I'm quite tall, so to look slim, you have to eat less or right food.
And this here we will make bigger.
It's very easy for me to gain some weight, and then it's very hard to lose weight, so of course I have to think about it all the time.
So the straps are too tight.
You're trying to present yourself the best that you can, the best look that you can put out there. And so that it's not always pretty if you have a very overweight skater, because they just don't fit in the dresses or the costumes.
I think they need to look a bit more feminine, rather than just stick a bit of skirt on top of the bodysuit. Can you actually give them just a leotard so they've got their own legs? Can you cut off the legs and make the bodysuit into a leotard?
Yeah, I mean, the bigger girls, sure, but what are the bigger girls?
Yeah, sure, because she's
That's right, yeah. That's okay because
she was a flying fish alternate, but she's not now because we didn't realise how tall she was.
Her thighs are so big, the tights are too short. So that suits me fine.
So snip them off.
Well, it's a little more difficult than just snipping them off.
Well, that's my logic. Just cut the legs off. Because you're out there in little costumes and they show every contour and yeah, it is. I mean, I don't have to watch what I eat because I usually burn up the energy. But if I do put on a few extra pounds, you're very conscious of that and you feel it too.
I've got patterns for Jane going back how many years?
Well, he keeps telling me they don't change. So.
What year did you win the Olympics?
84.
Well.
Since then, must be.
13 years.
Yeah.
And she hasn't changed that much at all. When I first met them, they were unbelievably shy and naive. They'd I think all their lives had been spent on an ice rink, and they knew very little about the outside world. They knew nothing about show business.
With each success we've had with different shows, we've got more confident that, we're on the right track and we're able to do this. I think it's a confidence really in doing like thousands and thousands of interviews. It gives you more confidence to speak to people and talk.
when we were younger, you know, we just both came working class kids, like a lot of people do, and they progress through. And to begin with, yeah, we were shy, you know, that somebody's holding a camera or got a notepad and a piece of paper, and you don't necessarily know how to project or to get your point over or to, you know, to talk to these people.
Yes, I'm at Whitley Bay Ice Rink where Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean are rehearsing for the next 7 weeks.
1 million people saw the last show. Does that amaze you? That ice. Thanks ever so much.
And you've chosen the cast. Now, how did you decide on all these different
brand
people?
Brand new show, brand new cast, lots of new things that we're trying out.
Some of them they just sent in videos.
Some of them aren't over the jet lag yet, so I don't know whether they're enjoying it.
That's lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Good luck. Thank you.
They never cease to amaze me how they can, if you imagine how many interviews they'll do over the next months, and how many I did with them last time over a 2-year tour, and they always are pleasant and will be interested, and they may have been asked that question so many times before, and they managed to answer it as if it's the first time they've been asked. You'll want to have a chat with Jane and Chris, won't you? So we'll just do that at the side of the ice here, and then the skaters will stay on the ice, so you get sort of good background stuff as well.
That'd be great.
Okay. I might not be able to get them off the ice for you.
It's just we're going to set up some lights in the corner.
Right, no problem. Okay, thanks.
Right,
Cheers.
thank you.
The photographer wanted one quick photo on the seats here. Would that be okay? And then we'll do.
Can we do it on the edge of the barrier so we don't have to get off?
Do you want one of these press bags? If you've got. Is your photographer here?
Yeah.
The only time it gets difficult is because their schedule's so tight. So now we're in rehearsals. They've got so many weeks to get a show together, and in between rehearsing and you know, choreographing everything and doing all the usual creative stuff, they've got to fit in as much press and publicity as I can get them to do.
Publicity, we accept that it's part of it. I mean, it's no good having a show if nobody's going to come and watch it. And a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, we actually had to not be at rehearsals, and we felt bad about that because we felt that we were losing choreographic time.
You know, Chris said that I don't get stressed about anything, but I mean, it was particularly hard, and then to go and have to sound interesting when you're just about to fall to sleep, you know, and do like 4 or 5 interviews at the end of the day like that was hard. But we knew we had to do it, and we knew during the rehearsal period is the time to do it.
I've never been so tired. We'd get up at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, and go to the rink, and we wouldn't leave there sometimes until 6 or 7 in the evening, because as we finished at 2 or 3 o'clock, the publicity thing would kick in. I don't know whether it'll actually one day we say, okay, that's it. But whilst we can do it, we still want to be out there and do it well. I take on the big picture, and I think the one thing that I do the most is I push to keep the momentum going. And that, I think that's, for me, that felt one of the hardest things on this particular tour, is keeping the momentum going.
Did you get those totally wrong? No, it's out and 1. You waited, you came out too early, then you waited too long. 1, 2, and there. Do it together.
I had a real bad time about halfway through this period, that I felt like I was sunk, and there was a real, you know, tense time, a lot of aggravation, and we weren't getting on with each other. We were tense with each other. After about 6 weeks, it was really quite a lot of pressure, and we had a little bit of a breakdown.
Well, another thought I had was that they could actually start to go, oh, you know, and move.
Well, that's what's going to happen anyway.
No, but before the music.
No, the change has to be is David. David's the one that says, okay, look, whistle, draw attention to, this is what's going to happen now.
But maybe we can do that before we start the music.
I think you can cheat a little bit out, a few seconds, but not a lot.
Chris gets more stressed than I do, to a point where, you know, it sort of becomes unreasonable. And I think everyone, you know, usually hits a point during a period of rehearsal like that because it's so intense. But usually at different times, different people feel the pressure and the stress.
I don't think I have a wife in. Oh, I do have a wife in. I think we as two people. We've changed along the way. Our family and home life has gotten to a point that it's really our priority. We have two lives. You know, we have a home here in America that Jill's had all the time, and I have a home in the UK and spend time between the two. You know, it's a great balance to be able to have those two opportunities, and it's nice to mix it up.
Thank you, Louis.
In our work, we are always seen as a couple, but you know, we both have our other life, our personal lives that sometimes become entwined, but other times quite separate, you know.
People still now always ask them about their relationship. Was there ever anything between you? Tell us, is it true? Is it, is it just a myth, a fairy tale? Is there any chance of you getting together? You know, and it's funny now, and they expect it. And when I was first working with them, and I didn't know them as well as I know now, I suppose I must admit, first even I was interested. I wanted, was there anything between you?
But then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you.
I think that what they both have to explain is, look, it's almost like, well, we're acting, it's theatre. We manage to look at each other with such passion, but it's part of the show.
I think their career has lasted this long because they've not been involved with each other. What you tend to find in a lot of other skating relationships is that you start off skating with someone when you're 14, 15, 16. You get to the age of 20 and you marry them. At the age of 25, you get divorced and you have to find another partner. And to everybody's evidence, Jane and Chris are still there, 25 years or whatever it is down the line.
I can see how people would get together on certain tours while they're on the road. And that's how I met my wife. Yeah.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June.
That's something that I have to sacrifice. I think it's better that I work on my career now that I'm young and I'm fit, and well, I still have time later on to build a good relationship.
Obviously, because I kept skating, there was no time if I'd wanted to have children or anything. So, that's something that's just been put on hold for years and years, and I've not minded that because I didn't feel ready. I wanted to pursue what I was doing. So, but that might be something that maybe I left too late. But I was willing to take that risk because the skating and what I was doing with that was more important to me at the time.
You've got your tickets, please. Block 2 in and turn right, okay. Let's come down, please. Thank you.
There is definitely adrenaline flowing. In some cases, blind panic. They'll probably be worrying about the last hook on their costume, or is my makeup right, or my hair going to stay up? Which is all, that's a performer. These are not just skaters; they're also performers.
Thanks. We always like to have water, lots of tissues, tea and coffee. So it's not very fancy.
Look at them. They're all smiling. And then look at us. We're like, damn luggage. Roger? Oh, what's this one?
Thank you very much.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Everybody's so nice. How appropriate. I know. Isn't that nice? Oh, that's so sweet.
If they didn't have the nerves, I think I'll be very surprised. I know Jane and Chris will be, even if they might not let on.
I think nerves are important to get the performance out of you. You need those nerves because you need to be tense, you need to have some anticipation. But at the same time, you know, we've put a lot of hard work into this. And I think, you know, it's time we need an audience now to get the reaction.
I know what I'm doing. I'm putting on lipstick. My father would be so proud.
My partner and I just give a little kiss for good luck, and I also like to have everything in my dressing room, my perfume, all my makeup. I get very upset if I forget something.
The procedure of just getting ready, there's a certain way that I do it each night, getting into certain clothes, doing certain things at certain times. It becomes just a pattern that we try and keep because it gets you to the point of getting on the ice and getting to that opening number. It's that ritual that you feel comfortable with.
I think it comes from doing one performance at an Olympic competition, and you've really got one performance to do, you know, properly. So they do everything in a very systematic way, which is sort of good. I quite like that way of working myself because I don't forget anything then, you know. It's almost like it's choreographed backstage as well as, or off ice as well as on ice.
5 minutes?
5 minutes, gentlemen. 5 minutes.
Well, I know of at least 5 years that she only wore one pair of socks for performance. They were the socks that she won the Olympics in. Well, we were darning and darning and darning, and I think they might have finally given up the ghost. But she was very superstitious about these socks.
I never thought I'd see them again. Sure enough, tonight, out they came. You know, I went, all right, fine. There's nothing left of them, but she wears them every night.
Yeah, they've been darned a few times. They've got the lining now, new lining. But I'm not going to show them.
Okay, everybody, have a good one. Thanks for all the hard work we've had over the last 8 weeks, and let's put it together tonight.
Jane is a superb technician, and when she goes before an audience, she lights up, she loves performance. Chris, although he enjoys performing, is thinking constantly, is that lighting right? Even during the show, he notices everything. If a lighting cue is 2 seconds late, he knows.
As we're skating off, sometimes someone yells, "Do bolero," and you just think like you've just given everything you've got in the number you've done, and they still want to see bolero. But you know, it's a compliment too. We just decided that in this show that we didn't want to perform it, and we didn't feel like there was a place for it, really.
I don't know whether we'll ever perform it again. I don't know, at this stage. I think we've, since then, done a lot more intricate, deeper things that we're very proud of.
I think Ice Adventures turned out to be harder than we thought and more intense. And we knew we had to work hard in a short period of time. But, you know, we got through it because it was something we wanted to do.
I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. Someplace to dance, I know that there's a chance you won't be leaving with me.
We're getting to a stage in our life where we're really getting to that point that we're going to say, okay, maybe slowly and quietly, we're not going to do as much until eventually it fades away. I mean, we don't want to say on one particular day, this is it, this is our last performance, we're not going to skate together again. I don't think we want to put that pressure on ourselves because we don't know.
The world, the whole world's the same. You never change it. But as sure as the stars shine above, you're nobody till somebody loves you. So find yourself somebody, somebody to love.
The next 5 years, I don't know, hopefully happily married and a father. That's as far as I know.
Depends whether I have a family by then, you know, I'm probably tearing my hair out or something. I have no idea. I mean, obviously quite happy and settled here, and hopefully that's where I'll be still. And still being involved in skating in some way, maybe more on a teaching and choreographing side than performing.
Well done, JP.
Please sign this for my Christmas present. was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Is Chris coming over?
He will eventually, yeah.
Miss Valera.
No.
No.
Yes, right.
Thank you very much. I just went over.
Please.